Hey awesome artists, we are starting on day 5 of creation. We're going to do half of day 5 this week and half next week. This week we're doing the sea creatures and next week we'll be doing the flying creatures. So this art piece is going to be as if you are at the bottom of the ocean looking back up to toward the top where the sun is. This white area is going to be where the light's coming down, where the sun is focused, and that's why it is white. And you notice the blue color is lighter the closer it is to the light, and the further it gets out, it's getting increasingly darker. Then we have our sea creatures, the shark, the sea turtle, and the jellyfish here. And those are just cut out of black paper. If you want to draw them after you do the sea background, you can. I just did the black paper because it gives it a little bit more dimension since it's just black. So we're going to start with a white piece of paper. You can do this with watercolors, you can do this with markers, you can do this with crayons, colored pencils as well. The main thing is just starting with that white center from where the sun is shining down and getting that light blue right next to that white, then a darker blue, and it gets darker the further it gets out. And we're starting with the circles. We're going to use, or I'm going to use, watercolors for my sea, and I'm going to start with a wet paper, and then I'm going to take my watercolors. And remember, when we are using watercolors, we first have to wake them up, and we're waking up the watercolors by dipping our paintbrush in the water a couple of times, 2 to 3, and then mixing that together and bringing it to the paper. So I'm starting with white. You don't have to start with white. You could just leave that white piece of paper as your white, but I like how the white will blend with the blue that we're going to use next. Remember, I'm using the lightest blue I have after that white, and starting just going into circles and coming around. And then I'm going to get a darker blue. And this blue is what I would call true blue. And as we use that true blue, and it's going to blend with the lighter blue, and you're going to start to see contrast of those colors. And you can see when I loaded my brush with more water, that color faded a bit, so I can just go over it again with that same true blue and make it a little darker. Alright, and now I'm going to use a navy blue. So navy blue is just that true blue with black added, and it makes much darker, even has a hint of purple hue to it a little bit on this palette. And I would continue that. On the edges of my paper, I also did in the corners there on my example page, I had some black that I added, and we're going to do that around the edge here. And then you would just let that dry. And I don't like just the black, so I go back in with that dark blue over the black. And it changes it just a bit so it doesn't look so much different. Just a little darker. There we go. And then we would let that dry. And as we're letting that dry, we can use that black paper to draw whatever sea creatures you want and cut that out. Or you can let this dry and draw your sea creatures right on your sea paper. I can't wait to see your creations for your sea creatures, and I look forward to it. Miss you guys. Love you. Have a great day.